Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hope you can hang with us today because we're back at Lake Eufaula and internet is there a word that's worse than hideous? Hideous.
Well, we need to say hello to the Aloha Kong,
Hello, JW.
to Over the Hill RV,
Hello, John.
and to Teachers on Adventures.
Teachers on Adventures, proud that y'all are here.
Yes.
Today is our Go Navy Beat Army. It's our annual. We do it every year before the game.
Yep.
The game's coming up December the 10th, 3 o'clock, playing up in Philadelphia. The 123rd meeting, the oldest rivalry in college football. And there's only been a handful of days that they have not played the game for many reasons. And we've got all the skinny right here and some fun facts about the ball game coming up this coming Saturday. Yes, go Navy. And we're going to take a look at the helmets. That's always cool.
Yeah, they always have some neat helmets.
They always
the last 20 more years.
Yeah.
They always do a fancy helmet.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at the helmets.
Okay.
Did you know that the Army-Navy game was the very first game to have a helmet?
Okay. I mean, no, I didn't know that before.
It's been around so long, 123 years, that the Army-Navy football game predates most football programs at legacy colleges. I mean, some old colleges. And as a matter of fact, when they played the very first one in 1893, Navy had been playing organized college football for 3 years, since 1890. Army, it was their very first football year.
Okay.
Very first year they had football, so they were 3 years
the
behind.
Army copied the Navy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Army copied the Navy, and obviously the Navy won because they'd been practicing for 3 years.
They knew what they were doing. Did you know that cadets and the midshipmen, I'm saying cadets because that's for either side. You know that they used to march to the football game?
Yeah, I can believe it.
You know, from West Point to Annapolis.
Oh, good God.
They used to march.
I do.
Their early games.
I do know that every game, with the exception of one, was played, has been played east of the Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Every Army-Navy game, with the exception of one, and I'll have that fun fact for you coming up, but it was played out in Pasadena.
Was it like a championship bowl game, something like that?
Yeah, well, they were trying to get some kind of sponsorship thing going, and, you know, obviously gave in to commercialism and moved the ball game out to the Rose Bowl. It was in the 60s, I think, but I'll have that here in a little bit. I said it earlier, we're at the lake.
We are at the lake. And it's
our home away from home.
It's warm outside, but it's quite gloomy.
Yeah, it's been kind of a miserable day. It was drizzly, kind of misty this morning. And folks are packing up and leaving. And hopefully we'll hang on to what little bit of internet we got.
I was going to say, not enough of them are leaving.
So go ahead and chime in. Teachers on Adventure already have. I know what Aloha Conk is going to say, and already has. Aloha, y'all. Go Army. And if you've got a preference, John, put it in there. Got 6 folks in the chat right now. If you're in the chat, you're just lurking. At the very least, chime in with your favorite of the two. And I don't want to hear no Air Force and no Coast Guard. Coast Guard ain't got no team. Air Force, they're babies. Of course, they did have a pretty good season. At least they started off having a good season.
Yeah, they did.
So let's see. 2016 Army won, 2017 Army won, 2018 Army won, 2019 Navy won, 2020 Army won. Guess who won last year?
Army.
Nope, Navy.
Navy won last year.
Navy,
I don't remember that.
Navy won last year.
I just remember we haven't had a couple of, we had a lot of good years. And then
John says, go Navy. Go Navy. But I've got a lot of great facts about the ball game. And even if you're not into football, you'll get a kick out of hearing some of the things that have happened over the 123 years of this contest. Hey, Papa Drew. Go Navy. That's right. Papa Drew was a Semper Fi man, a Marine.
Gracious. Let me see if I can figure out how to get rid of these.
Yeah, let's shut that down. Unfortunately, we don't have any moderators with us here today.
Not yet.
We'll keep an eye on that for you guys. Papa Drew says, did you all get the new trending toy for Christmas? It's called Bopping Beaver.
It's Papa Drew's sense of humor. Ages 18 to 75, because before 18 you might not understand what you're doing, and after 75 it causes heart problems.
Oh.
Oh.
I see.
All right, Papa.
Do you know why Army can't use the internet?
No, why can't Army use the internet?
Because they can't string 3 W's together.
Okay.
Said it was trash talking time.
It is trash talking time. Don and Bear says we have an issue because Don's dad was Navy and my dad was Army, but Michigan did win the Big Ten last night. We did. Yes, Michigan did. And I mean, we're rooting for Michigan kind of, sort of. And I understand the top 4 did not change.
Yes, it did.
The positions did a little bit.
Ohio State got back in. That is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Heard Ohio.
Because USC fell and they fell out, and Ohio State, having a better strength of schedule and one loss, moved up.
Yeah. And I can understand a one-loss team.
Papa Drew, it's next Saturday, the 10th of December, 3:00 on TV. And it's always fun to watch the pomp and circumstance. And this whole week is going to be full of pranks. You know what the biggest lie is at the Naval Academy?
What's the biggest lie at the Naval Academy?
I was just helping the goat over the fence. I mean, just helping the donkey over the fence.
They have a mule.
A mule. I was helping the mule over the fence.
December 10th at 3 p.m. That's right, JW.
Yep.
I loved working at Fort Rucker for the short time that I did. I worked at the elementary school. This was right after 9/11. And my job, actually, I was at the front desk. When people came in, they had to show their ID card and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had no weapon. I had a computer, so I don't know exactly what they expected me to do to defend the students. But anyway, that was my job at the front. I saw all the ID cards.
You had a computer?
I had a computer.
You could have logged them out.
Army would have gone home. Anyway, my favorite part was at the time that I was working there, the Army-Navy game was coming in. So everybody comes in and says, go Army. And I'd say, beat Army, go Navy. But anyway, it's sweet. I'm stupid Ohio, LOL. Well, Ohio, Michigan, I'm not an Ohio fan, so go Michigan. But and
of course, Nick Saban, I'm a Bama fan. Nick Saban was trying to argue his point, but even as a Bama fan, he doesn't have a point. We
no
2-loss team. Yeah, we were sitting at number 5, and
you'd think with the loss that Bama would have moved up. But at the same time, how many times has there been a national championship where there's been 2 SEC teams?
Oh, Many.
So
I remember one year we played. I think we played Georgia in the
conference
the
game.
conference game, and then
And
turned around
that
and played them in the
was last
national.
year.
That was last year. We played them in the national championship, and we beat them in the championship game for the conference,
Right.
and they beat us.
Yeah, lost to national.
It's hard to come back. But anyway, we have 2 losses, and we lost to Tennessee and LSU, and their seasons, well, Tennessee didn't have a bad season. LSU self-destructed.
Well, they both had decent seasons.
Plus, we almost lost to Texas A&M, which
that's yeah.
But so anyway, we don't have an argument.
I like
Nick Saban
the fact
doesn't have an argument.
that Texas Christian's there. I think they deserve to be there.
Yep.
Wait a minute. No, they didn't.
No, yeah, TCU.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Texas Christian is, man, they're hotter than a
A
firecracker.
Georgia versus Michigan championship. I'm not sure how they fell, because 1 plays 4.
Well,
2 plays 3.
That actually got determined today at noon, and we weren't watching it. We got spotty internet, but they were actually going to rank them. But the way it looked was that TCU was at 3, and Georgia's at 1. 2 is Michigan, and now number 4 is Ohio State.
Michigan will play
TCU. 1 and 3, 2 and 4.
That's right.
No, I'm sorry. It's 1 and 4, 2 and 3. That's the way they play.
The other direction.
I know it. I said it wrong the first time. It's 1 and 4 will play. So if Ohio State's number 4, they'll have to face Georgia, and TCU and Michigan will face off. But yeah, if it were to come down to a Georgia, Michigan, all those games would be fun. I'm not a big Ohio State fan, but
that's because our son is a Michigan fan, number 1, and we've never been an Ohio State fan. But our oldest child roots for Michigan, so we'll root for Michigan. But when they play Georgia, it's hard to root for Michigan against an SEC team because it's SEC. So I don't know which way I'm going to go for that game.
Well, the masses should be happy. There's only one SEC team.
Yeah.
And, of course, you're going to have to come in with your guns loaded to take down Stetson Bennett and Georgia. They are just – but
Georgia's
like
scared.
I said, that TCU team – hitting on all cylinders.
We're living in Texas, so it kind of sucks. Was going to start following TCU, but dang if they play Michigan. Yeah, I understand that, Bear.
They lost their championship game.
TCU?
Yeah, but did not flip, did not move.
Well,
and
again, they're now a 1-loss team, so that kind of dumps them over the 2-loss teams and other arguments.
The thing is, they were already in the top 4, so they never moved. They're in the playoffs. So,
well, anyway, so it'll be interesting. We don't have a dog in that game, so
a dog in that hunt,
dog in that fight, dog in that hunt. We really don't have a dog in it. So let's get back to the Navy-Army game.
It's really called the Army-Navy game.
It's hard to say Army before you say Navy, no matter what you do.
I have to root for Notre Dame. My dad went to college there.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Notre Dame's a hard one to go.
I only got one major problem with Notre Dame.
They don't really belong to a conference.
That's right. Get your butt in a conference, so you got to play as many games as everybody else.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens most years with the SEC is we end up, cannibalizing ourselves and then end up playing usually we're in the top 5, 2 teams that face off in the SEC championship game. We don't have a chance.
Yeah.
We're going to take each other down. All right. How about some fun facts?
Okay.
There are many fun facts about the game. Just consider some of these. This
Okay.
is the 123rd playing of the Commander's Cup, the Army-Navy game. Cadets and midshipmen played the first Army-Navy football game November the 29th, 1890 on the plain at West Point. Navy had been playing organized football since 1879 and defeated the newly established Army team 24-0. I predict that's going to be just about the score we're talking about today.
For next week.
Yeah, the score for next week,
Okay.
right? When the first Army-Navy game was played, consider these facts. Benjamin Harrison was in his second year of his term as the 23rd president when they played. Earlier in the year, that year being 1890, Wyoming and Idaho were admitted as the 43rd and 44th states.
Okay.
Ellis Island wouldn't open for another year. Here's a cool one right here. In 1893, Navy's Joseph Mason Reeves flashed the leather for the first time on the gridiron. Injuries prompted the future admiral to enlist the help of an Annapolis shoemaker for his football career to continue. In doing so, he becomes the first player to use a football helmet. And I got a picture of that. I'm going to flash it up here for you. Check this out. The very first football helmet. Check out what it looks like. Dude's right in the middle there. That was the very first football helmet.
Now, what was it supposed to protect him from?
Well, they had already had injuries, and he apparently got banged around so much that in order to continue playing, he just had to have something on his head. So he went out on his own. He was the only player that did it, but it was the very first football helmet.
Okay.
Army and Navy have met as the number 1 and number 2 teams twice. They were ranked number 1 and number 2 in the nation only twice in the 123 years of the rivalry. It just so happens to be back-to-back years. Both times it was the Black Knights who gained the upper hand, winning 23-7 in 1944 and 32-13 the following year, led by eventual Heisman Trophy winners Felix Doc Blanchard in 1945 and Glenn Davis in 1946. Army finished both seasons with a perfect 9-0 as national champions.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Here's a real cool one. We're talking about facts about the Iron Bowl. Not the Iron Bowl, the Army-Navy Bowl. Go Navy, beat Army. Coming up next weekend on TV, December the 10th. The classic TV show MASH.
MASH, okay. Yeah.
They featured the Army-Navy game in an episode from its debut season, which aired in 1973. The show's writers scripted the 53rd meeting between the academies, with the midshipmen winning 42-36. In reality, the mids didn't win the 53rd game.
Oh.
It took place 21 years earlier and ended 7-0, the final victory of the Navy 3-win streak. Coincidentally, the score depicted on MASH, which was 42-36, has never been the outcome of any of the 123 games. You know, you would think they would
at least get the history right.
I know, get the history right.
That doesn't make. I mean, it's Hollywood.
It's also 1973. They didn't have the internet, so you had to go to the library. One of the most historic games in the series is also one that was known for almost not happening.
Okay.
President John F. Kennedy was assassinated November 22nd, 1963. His untimely death meant the game fell within the military's 30-day national period of mourning, nearly canceling the contest, but the Kennedy family urged the game to be played.
Well, I think, even that, we're talking, 63? Football was pretty much the national pastime or taking over baseball, and it was a great way for people to
Bear says
go
those
on.
old leather helmets, when they tore down our old high school, they found a whole stockpile of them. No face mask, protection, nothing, just basically a leather padded helmet. That's right. Army snapped a 5-game skid against Navy in 1964 with an 11-8 win, but it was the midshipmen who took down a more significant obstacle. Sophomore wingback Calvin Huey became the first African American to take the field for either side in the series, catching 4 passes for Navy, and he was the very first African American in college football.
That was in 64?
That was 1964, although today we know the game as an annual tradition, and it has been such since 1930. There were 10 times the Army-Navy game was not played.
Okay.
In 1909, when Army cadet Eugene Byrne died in a game against Harvard, Army canceled the rest of the games that season.
Okay. Died during the game?
Yep. Probably worked on their helmets a little bit.
I'm sorry. That's not funny.
I would. In 1917 and 1918, 2 years, the United States was involved in World War I. The War Department canceled the Army-Navy games for those 2 seasons.
Okay.
And in 1928 and 1929, there were disagreements on the player eligibility standards, so the game was suspended both years. The Army-Navy game is played for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, and rightly so, since the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States of America, attends the game yearly.
The president and recently Joe Biden.
That has been a tradition since Theodore Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt was the first one to attend the game in 1901. The winning team receives a Night of Liberty. It means no homework or other duties on the night after the game. So we call it Liberty. I'm not sure what Army calls it. Furlough?
I think they call it furlough.
Furlough or anyway.
Unauthorized absence. Their UA.
Dwight D. Eisenhower was the only president to have ever played in the Army-Navy game. He played in 1912.
Cool.
And in 1944, President Franklin Roosevelt required anyone that attended that game to have to buy war bonds. We got some more of those fun facts coming up, but I want to show you what the Army helmets are going to look like this year. Check these out. There's your Army lid right there.
Show me a clown hat or something.
Nope, that's the Army helmet right there.
Kind of cool.
And I like the Navy helmet.
I always like Navy helmets.
It is a NASA theme. Check this out. See the astronaut?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
We've had a lot of Navy astronauts.
We have. And Navy tends to, and I'm sure that the Army helmet kind of has the same theme, but I know the Navy helmets, usually the cadets while they're playing, or the midshipmen while they're playing, wears whatever specialty that they're going to be going into.
Yeah.
Whether it's surface warfare, that type of thing. So it's pretty cool.
Actually, JW, Aloha Conk, that does look like this explosive triangle. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not up on Army.
But that's what it looks like.
But yeah, it does. And it's cool looking.
Yes, in 1973, you got to get the Encyclopedia Britannica from a neighbor who had money for the full set. We had the Encyclopedia Britannica Air Force Edition. Daddy obviously got swindled into buying that.
We had a set.
And listen, they never made a more boring set of books. Now, when the World Book Encyclopedia came along, I was all about that. Lots of pictures, and they have those fold-out sections and stuff. But that Britannica.
Actually, I think we had both sets because, again, being a military family, we got suckered into them.
That Encyclopedia Britannica was the driest books. You open those, and the words were so tiny and small. It was horrible.
But I do remember a lot of pictures, and I do remember reading a lot of encyclopedias when I was younger. Because you either went to the library or you went to your encyclopedia to find out stuff.
The Dewey Decimal System.
Okay.
You had to know the Dewey Decimal System. Kids don't even know what that is today.
Do you have anything in there about the goat?
Oh, several things. Okay. We'll get to them.
Okay, because I know a little bit about the goat.
General Douglas MacArthur telegrammed Army's head coach to say he had stopped the war for the game in 1945. Army won 32-13.
Oh, he stopped the war?
He stopped the war for the game in 1945.
Is that like stopping the war for Christmas?
I don't know, like a ceasefire or something just for the game.
Just for the game. Yeah. I wonder if the other side agreed. I mean,
before every game is played, the brigade of midshipmen and corps of cadets march in. You mentioned that earlier. And if you've never witnessed the march, that's part of the reason for watching the game. Even if you don't have a dog in the hunt, it's the pomp and circumstance of the whole thing. At the end of every game, both teams stand together and sing each school's alma mater. The losing team, they go first to the losing student section, and both the cadets and the midshipmen sing to them the Army alma mater, and then they go over to the winning side, which this year will be the Navy side, and
so
they all sing.
Army cadets have to learn the
That's right.
Navy alma
That's right.
mater. Sounds good.
There have been 5 Heisman Trophy winners who played the Army-Navy game.
Mm-hmm.
They were Doc Blanchard of Army in 1945, Glenn Davis of Army in 1946, Pete Dawkins of Army in 1958, Joe Bellino of Navy in 1960, and of course the one we know,
Roger Staubach.
Roger Staubach, who played many years with the Cowboys. He was a Heisman Trophy winner in 1963. Here's one of the greatest pranks ever made. Was when a presidential contender of 1992 was a Navy midshipman. It was an absolute that an Army cadet ring the West Point bell every morning at 0800. But the door was locked.
Oh.
At 0800, the bell started ringing. But it rang the song, Row, Row, Row Your Boat. It seems Ross Perot had snuck in and locked the doors, and he rang the song and was arrested for it. Good old Ross Perot.
I remember him.
Let me tell you something.
I didn't realize he was Navy, though.
Yeah.
But that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed about that fact is West Point's ringing the bell every morning at 8 o'clock. Does that mean they sleep in until 8 o'clock?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, yeah. They got to get their beauty sleep.
Yeah, got to get their beauty sleep.
Bunch of grunts. Before the game every year, and even during the game, pranks are played. The most common prank is the theft of the opposite team's mascot. But many other pranks have been played, too. The funniest one I witnessed, according to this writer, was the dropping of 1,000 ping pong balls on the opposing side's sidelines. One of the greatest pranks ever made was when I already read that one. There have been some legends who played the Army-Navy game. Roger Staubach.
Okay.
Phil McConkey, who played with the New York Giants.
Okay.
And Napoleon McCollum, who ran the ball for the Los Angeles Raiders. They were all Army-Navy game players.
Do you remember when Clay, our youngest, when he first went active duty, after graduating from the ROTC program at Auburn, Clay Carter is his name, obviously. And during that time frame, there was a Clay Carter that was playing for the Navy midshipman.
Really?
And he would go to his duty stations, and everybody would be all excited to see Clay Carter is coming to their command, and it was the wrong Clay Carter. Our Clay Carter never played football.
I'm going to try to play something for you. Every year, the forces, Army and Navy, they make up little spirit videos every year. Different commands make them.
Yeah.
And
I remember being in one.
I haven't tried this.
Or being part of one.
But I want to see if I can open a video file and play it. We'll start off with Army. So here's one of the Army Spirit videos. These weren't necessarily for the 2022 season, several years worth here, but check this one out. See if this works.
I've been in the Army 40 years. I didn't join the cavalry to be cool. I didn't become a tank commander to make a statement. I just like
Interesting. Let's see what we have here. After an 1893 game, a skirmish occurred between a Navy admiral and an Army general. At some point, it appered a duel would take place.
A duel?
Fortunately, that did not occur. Yeah, they were going to duel.
Yeah.
And they apparently the fans were taking it out on each other too.
Well, I can imagine.
271 members of the Corps of Cadets each contributed 52 cents to pay half of the Navy's travel cost for the 1890 game.
Okay, I can do 52 cents.
52 cents.
But that was a lot of money back then.
It is said the longest interruption, which lasted from 1894 to 1898, came about after an argument between the Army general and a Navy admiral. That was the duel. That was, and they suspended the game for 4 years. They had to figure out all kinds of stuff. The game also wasn't played in 1909. That's when the cadet died, and they worked on their helmets. Yep. The Navy aircraft flyover is a favorite among fans. When the President of the United States attends the game, Air Force One may also do a flyover. Other pregame favorites are the Navy's Leapfrogs and Army Black Knights parachute teams. Okay. We've seen both of those. Twice during World War I, 1917 and 1918, the games were canceled on orders from the War Department. Also in 28 and 29, the academies could not reconcile player eligibility standards.
The Army must have been overweight.
Yeah, well, that or the fact it just
Army too old.
Army and paperwork. That just the two don't. On November 27th, 1926, the game was held in Chicago for the formal dedication of Soldier Field in honor of the American servicemen who fought in World War I.
Okay.
That's where it got its name, Soldier Field, in Chicago. Going into both 44 and 45 games, Army was ranked number 1 and number 2. Army won both games. The tradition of mules as mascots for Army dates back to 1899 when a quartermaster officer decided the team needed a mascot to counter the Navy goat and chose a white mule used to pull an ice wagon. However, the first official mule was a former U.S. Navy pack mule named Mr. Jackson that arrived at West Point in 1936. Since Mr. Jackson, there have been 17 official Army mules. Buckshot, the only female of the bunch, arrived in West Point in 1964, a gift from the Air Force Academy. Today, 3 mules serve as the Army mascot, just in case a couple of them don't feel good. Raider,
Okay.
Ranger 2, and General Scott.
Okay.
Instant replay made its American debut in the 1963 Army-Navy game. See, there's facts you wouldn't know much about.
That's true. Now, can I tell you some more about the goat?
First helmet, oldest rivalry, and the first instant replay.
Can I tell you some more about the goat?
Yeah, tell us about
Why
the goat.
does the Navy have a goat?
Because we're bullheaded.
Nope. Because way back when, before the Navy even existed, goats were favorites aboard ship. Because that way they didn't have to eat salted pork. They would have fresh meat. They wouldn't take cattle because cattle required too much hay and all that stuff, where a goat would eat just about anything.
Wow.
So the goats would basically eat the garbage.
And they would eat the goats.
They're very
Sure-footed, right?
So they could handle the rocking of the ships. So goats were always on board a ship as fresh meat, clean up the garbage, whatever leftover foods and stuff like that, because goats will eat almost anything. And because they're sure-footed. So goats have been on board ships long time before the Navy existed. And the first
it makes sense to carry a food source that doesn't have to be preserved. You just keep it on the hoof until you're ready to eat it.
And the first Navy goat was El Cid. He actually came from was presented to the Navy, or a Navy admiral got him, and he brought him to the game, and the Navy beat Army like 24-0. And then that's when the goat became the mascot. And this was one of the early games, one of the very first games that they played. So they've always had a goat as their mascot, but that's why Navy has goats.
Bear and Don are right. The war did end in 45. So he said he ended the war for the game.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Was that one of those Bella Wood things where...
No.
Hey, Lucky Dog Productions. Hey, Sue, how you doing?
Hello, Sue.
All right. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about what I knew about goats.
I didn't know that about goats.
Yep.
I just thought because we were so blockheaded, you know.
The
Rose Bowl is the only site west of the Mississippi ever to host the Army-Navy game. Did so in 1983. And like I said, they were some kind of trying to secure sponsorship or something, so they moved it out there. Only 6 Army-Navy games have been held on the campus of either academy. 2 of those games were during World War II, one in 1942 and the other in 1943. In other words, playing on the campus of the...
Right, because when there's usually played like Philadelphia or some place like that. Yeah.
New York's Polo Grounds holds the record for the most games hosted outside of Philadelphia, although the last game played there was in the 1920s.
Okay.
But, of course, that's where Army would go, and midshipmen would meet them. March there? Holy cow. And this is one of the coolest parts of all.
Okay.
Whether the midshipmen or the cadets win, they know they are always comrades in arms.
Yep.
Following each game, players sing both teams' alma maters. The winning team joins the losing team and sings facing the losing team's students. Then the losing team joins the victors on their side of the field, Navy, and sings the winner's alma mater to its students. The act is a show of mutual respect and solidarity.
Cool.
Those are the fun facts. Fun facts you did not know, or maybe did, about the 123rd playing of the Army-Navy game. Let's watch another one of those videos. Those things are fun.
Another thing about goats.
Yeah, what about goats?
Sailors would leave them on different ports.
So they would multiply?
Yes, exactly. And then when they pulled into that port, they had fresh meat. And they could take some more to see.
Poor goats.
Poor goats. Yep, yep, yep.
All right, here's one for the Navy. Let's get us a Navy one in here. Here we go.
Tell us a scary story.
No, make it a fairy tale.
Yeah, a fairy tale.
All right, I got one. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago. So long ago, it was before even selfies, before any of you were even born. Army beat Navy.
No! Come on, get real. Tell us a story that's believable.
Yeah, Army beating Navy? What next? Are you going to tell us there's such thing as a tooth fairy?
You know, kids, I think you're right. I've never actually seen Army beat Navy, and I guess none of us ever will.
Go Navy, beat Army!
Again.
Again.
Oh,
I
my
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
When I was on board the USS Stennis, the cadet, the midshipmen who actually went to Annapolis during the Army-Navy game, they wore robes,
Yeah.
pajama robe type things, and we were on the aircraft carrier, and we were at sea, and they actually recorded a video, and all the crew, well, as many as they would allow up on the flight deck, we got all up on the flight deck, and we spelt, of course, Navy, and those one of the top officers, air boss or somebody, had his robe on, and we did the Go Navy Beat Army, and that was kind of cool. I don't know, of course I never saw it air, but we recorded a little video, so that was kind of cool.
Here's another one. This one is for Army. Check this out.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I don't know if you were counting. Let's hit 1,000. You want to be strong? You want to look like me? You want to look like that guy. You all right, little buddy?
Yeah, I'm in the Navy.
Pathetic. Look how this guy does PT. This is how I do PT. No burn. A little bit of burn. There's the burn. Puny Navy sidearm. Pathetic. Army sidearm. Nice ride, Navy guy.
Thanks, I got it on a loan.
Pathetic. This is what I drive. Obviously, here in the Army, we do things a little bit differently. Hey, Navy guy, what happened to you? He got beat pretty badly. Pathetic. On game day, don't be like this guy. Go Army.
Hey.
Yeah.
They obviously got an Army recruit to play that Navy sailor.
Obviously. And let's see. Let's get another one for the Navy. Here's one for the Navy right here.
The 115th Army-Navy game. The Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Jonathan Greener, is here to model a small uniform change to pay homage to the game's proud tradition. Seriously, CNO?
Hashtag tradition.
Hashtag Army-Navy game?
Hashtag first game in 1890, played every year since 1930. Hashtag back in the game day.
Navy for the win. Hashtag 13 in a row.
Hashtag Baker's dozen.
Hashtag Go Navy. Hashtag Beat Army. Hashtag Go Navy, Beat Army. Yes, sir.
Guys, hashtag one team, one fight. Now get back to work.
Hashtag Go Army.
Hashtag.
Hashtag. I never saw it.
All right, another one. Let's get one here for the Army. Here you go.
Backlit, no warning messages. Charges 6 down to the rear. Stand by fire.
didn't like that one.
That one wasn't made no sense.
That was Army, right?
That was for Army.
Yeah, let's get another Navy one in here. I'm about to wrap this up. It's about 15 more minutes. Go Navy, beat Army. That was obviously in 2014 when they had put together a streak of 12 wins, and they were going into game number
13.
Number 13 of that streak. All right, so
Had
that
a better
was
soundtrack.
that was Navy. So here's another Army. See if I can click on that. There we go. Here we go. Army.
Today is game day for Army football. But for the Army, every day is game day. Go Army! Be Navy!
They tried to sound tough. Yeah. It looked like just a
ooh. And I got one more for the Navy.
Okay.
Let's check this out. All right. And this one comes to us from the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Sir, you're clear for Operation 72.
Captain copies. Officer deck, secure from flight quarters. You're clear to maneuver the ship.
All jet full, indicate 100 RPM. Hard right rudder.
Hard right rudder, aye, sir.
Here we go again, Chang. He always gets this way this time of year.
Captain!
More speed! We're giving it all she's got, Captain! Almost there. Almost there. That's it.
I like that one. That was my favorite for the Navy, and the Army one where the guy goes, I don't know, I didn't see you there. I don't know if you were counting. I just did 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm in the Navy.
Teachers on Adventure said that they served 4 years on the Lincoln.
On the Abraham Lincoln?
Well, that's the one you did.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, and go Navy. Beat Army.
That's right.
The game is next weekend, and they're playing in Philadelphia. 123rd meeting, oldest rivalry in college football, and they'll be playing for the Commander-in-Chief's Cup. Mm-hmm. And our Commander-in-Chief might be there. He should be there. It's his cup.
He wouldn't remember if he was there or not. I don't think he remembers last year.
We don't do politics. We don't do politics.
He doesn't remember.
We don't do politics in our videos, and we don't do politics in our live streams. Okay. So zip, 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 zip. That's it. Zip. It's a preemptive zip.
All right. So the President of the United States will be at the game, and possibly Joe Biden. Hashtag no politics. I like that. Thank you. I needed that.
Anyway, Army won 2016, 17, and 18. We won 2019. Army won 2020, and we won 21 last year.
Okay.
And we'll win again this year.
It's a lot of fun, regardless of whose side you're on, because again, just like we talked about, it's about having that relationship with the military.
Oh, yeah.
It's a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. These are our young men and women getting ready to go on to a career which most likely will take them in a war zone of some sort. They're willing to risk their lives. And I'm just grateful that our armed forces has a outlet like college football. Bring some well-deserved attention to either branch of the service. And it's an honor. And it's a tradition.
It's really a tough. The service academies obviously have a tough time recruiting. It's not like they recruit. They can recruit, but listen, to be on the football team, you have to be a cadet or a midshipman.
Right.
And they have weight and height standards.
They do.
So
you're not going to see that real big burly guy.
You can't have a 350-pound lineman up there.
No.
You know, it just that's the tough part about the service academies. But there have been some greats come out of the game.
Oh yeah.
And obviously back in those days when they were, just the early days, the late 1800s, early 1900s, there weren't a lot of football teams. A lot of colleges didn't have a football program. So, they had a 9-game season in the early 1900s. While we're on the subject, and we have a few minutes left here, I want to draw your attention to something that's down in the description of this video and all our videos. It's always on our videos. 2 things. First off, the Fisher House. The Fisher House raises funds to make available homes near hospitals and near military bases where their injured service members are being treated.
Well, not just the injured service members, but in their family if they have a sick child or.
Yeah, it's the family who it's for, but just to have the family in the area and the family not have to worry about hotels and a rental house or whatever. It's kind of like the military's version of the Ronald McDonald House, but it's the Fisher House. And if you are charitable this Christmas season, that's not a bad charity. They do great work, and they obviously do a much needed service to the members of the family members of service members who are being treated at these hospitals. So down in the text of the description, you'll find a link to Fisher House and a brief description of what they do. And you can find out more at their website, Fisher House. Also, in all our videos, not just during the holidays, but we always have a link down there to where you can send a card, a letter, a care package to an overseas service member, someone you don't even know. And having been recipients of some of those letters and packages, we can tell you that it's incredible that someone would take the time to send you a letter, pray for you, send you, a card, a care package. But that's always something that's needed at this time of year, but you can do it year round. Send letters and cards and packages to service members. And the link for that is also below in the description of this video. So either one of those or both of them. If you, again, are looking for a worthy charity and a worthy project, you can't go wrong with either one of those or both.
Or both.
That's right. Go Navy, beat Army.
Go Navy.
A lot of people don't know what it's like to be away from your family at the holidays. And not only older service members who have a wife and children of their own or a husband and children of their own. I'm talking about that sailor at 17 years old.
Oh, gosh.
Never been away from home. Graduated high school, joined the Navy, joined the Army, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Air Force, and is sitting overseas or even at a duty station here in the States, and can't get home for the holidays, you know, mission critical, whatever the case may be. It's a funky feeling. It takes a little while to get over that. And I think my first 4 years in the Navy, I never made it home for any one of the Christmases. I could get leave during the year, but I never could get home. I was in Japan or I was in Australia. I was somewhere at a duty station where it just wasn't feasible to go home. So you're sitting in your barracks.
Or on board a ship.
Or on board a ship during the holidays.
Or out on maneuvers or working. Out in the war zone.
That's right.
Sandbox or whatever. Yeah.
So anyway, letters from home. It's a good deal. It's a good thing. Check out the description below for that information. Got about 4 minutes left to go.
Great Granny Freebird is here.
Hello.
Her and Morgan. Now, they do say go Army. We understand. We're okay with that. But Navy's going to win. But, we understand. It's good to see you. And she just recently had some work done by Jonnie. I know.
Some van work.
Yeah.
Granny, we going to see a video?
Well, I hope so.
Did Jonnie do it or would you do a video?
I think they both should.
Yeah. You both should.
But anyway,
Johnny's got her hands full.
That girl's busy.
I know she did an incredible job for y'all. So we'd love to see it.
But anyway, we would like to remember folks. Plus that damn song, I'll Be Home for Christmas, never helps when you're not home.
That's right.
I spent many years, I was, of course, also stationed in Japan, and it wasn't easy to fly home, which there's a lot of programs out there, not only the Fisher House, but for those of you that may possibly have a lot of air miles.
Oh, yeah, you can donate those.
You can donate those to a service member. They have an actual clearinghouse, and you can donate your fly miles, and there's just different things that people can do to support the military at this time. Like you said.
And let me tell you, right now, it's a tough time to be in the military. There just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of support for you. It's just a tough time. And it doesn't help that you might be separated from your loved ones during the holiday. So anything you can do to help, letter, card, they'd certainly appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Miss Codody, our bull lab, 90 pounds of farting amazement. That's the fartness dog. And my God, awful. What?
Says that Johnny's supposed to be finished with the van before Christmas. They'll be picking it up soon.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I know you're excited. I'm going to go ahead and take care of her.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Time's up. Want to thank y'all for spending your Sunday with us. And love you guys. Hope to catch you out on the road somewhere. See you.
Real soon.
Or see you again. See you for the first time or see you again. But we hope you have a good week coming up. And until we see you again, fair winds and following seas. Go Navy.
Go Navy.